All right, and some things that I usually like to ask people as well are, what do you think your short-term and long-term goals would be for League, if you have any?
I would say overall, a short-term goal might just be to have like a positive win ratio, especially with the main guy I have, and maybe like a longer-term one would be to get to like maybe gold would be pretty good for me.
Okay,
I played a good amount in season 6, I think, and I was just in bronze the whole time.
okay, I see. And what do you think like your main struggles right now with climbing are? What do you think your main problems are?
Um, I think that so I just switched to mid lane. Like in season 6, I used to do Tryndamere top and Jack's top mostly, and I think they both have, or I think Tryndamere has better matchups in mid actually, and I was watching other people like doing it and stuff, and like showing how to do it, and but I think so for me it's hard like moving to mid lane to like the changes from top. Like I'm getting ganked a lot more often, which is fine. I'm like learning to ward better, but I think like just roaming, I guess, is probably one of my roaming is one of them, and just like more mid centric stuff I'm not used to.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at CSing too, but
okay. Well, that's good. I mean, you already have a good idea of a lot of things you want to work on.
yeah,
And it definitely is like a big change coming from top lane to mid lane. I mean, I played both of those roles a lot, and you're right. Like coming to mid lane, there's like a lot of gank angles that people can do that
yeah,
you wouldn't really expect a lot of the time. And yeah, so you main Trend, right? That's
yeah.
okay. Just looking at your OPGG again. All right.
Yeah, at one point I went on a win streak and I was like 70 to 80% win rate with him, and then I just had people like AFKing and going like 1 in 10 and stuff. And I don't want to blame them, but at the same time, it can be rough.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. You know, like it can be really difficult to win when people have really bad games like that. So
He gets banned a lot too.
yeah. Um, did you have any specific games out of these that you wanted to look at? Like probably like a trend game.
Yeah, maybe just the last couple Tryndamere losses. That'd
Okay.
probably be good.
Okay, so I'll start with this one. That's 4 and 3 and 3, and I'm gonna screen share so you can see.
Yeah, that's fine.
In just a sec. Wait, so you said like Trin gets banned a lot? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so like all my mid lane games, I have a lot of mid lane games that aren't Tryndamere, and that's because he was banned.
Okay.
And sometimes by my own team.
Like you'll hover it and then they'll ban it because they don't want you to
Yeah.
play. Okay.
It's pretty lame.
Yeah, it is. It is lame when people do stuff like that.
It's a pretty good mid pick against a lot of mid laners.
Yeah, I actually think Trin mid is solid. Like I've played against a few around like Master Elo. I know there's like at least one Trin mid one trick who's like close to Challenger in North America.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a fine pick. Like especially with a lot of the sustain and stuff. You know, it's not a traditional mid pick, but it's still not trolling. You know, like it's good.
Yeah. He can like solo dragon and stuff pretty early, so if nobody's paying attention, I just go and take it. That's pretty good. I like being able to do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right. So can you see League right now?
It's loading.
Okay. Should pop up in a bit.
Still loading.
Okay. If it takes a little while longer, maybe I'll try re-screen sharing it. Yeah, I'm gonna try restarting the screen share.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I see it now.
Okay, cool. Alright, so yeah, this is a game where you're against Silas. And he has Ignite, and okay, Xin Zhao with TP. And...
One thing about this game is I haven't versed that many Silases, and so I was being a little more cautious than normal, but I just wanted to say that.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, feel free to throw in any questions or comments anytime, and I can give you my thoughts on those as well. Yeah, like there will be a lot of weird champs that get played mid too. Like, I think overall your goals will still stay the same a lot as Trynd, where
yeah,
you'll just want to try to get your CS, and then eventually you'll want to go side lane, and just try to play the objective game. Have you ever watched like Fog for the Win stream or YouTube videos?
Yeah, I watch a lot of Fogged and Nice.
Yeah, cool. And so like, yeah, along with that, the main things you want to focus on once you get to like that mid and later point in the game is you want to go out to these side lanes and start to try to crack the base open.
I used to watch a lot of Boxer Pete too.
Oh yeah, that works. I haven't seen.
Season 6.
Yeah.
He's done now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I was watching this replay and I noticed I was just standing around a lot. I don't know what I was thinking in the game, but I feel like I should have been more productive.
Okay. And so like the way you come up to this first wave, do you kind of always do this the same? Do you start at like trying to push early on?
Usually, yeah, I want to build Raid, Fury, whatever my passive is.
Yeah.
Usually if I have full Fury and I'm full health, I can win a lot of 1v1s, especially mid lane.
Yeah.
So usually if I can get that, you know, even right now I'm trying to trade with this guy because I'll probably beat him. I didn't really win that one, but I didn't crit that one. But the crits make a big difference.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think usually when Tryndameres go for this sort of trade as well, they'll just go for the auto and then E away to get their quick trade.
Yeah, I probably should have E'd away there.
Another thing is, if you want to try to take, you know, the extended trade, you can walk forward into him instead of, you know, like try to auto and then move forward, try to kite forward in between.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's something I'm really bad at. I need to try to work on that. The whole fighting forward thing.
Well,
Are you streaming this to Twitch right now?
No, I'm just recording the VOD.
Oh, okay. So then will it be up on like YouTube or Twitch?
Yeah, I can upload it on YouTube if you want.
Okay, cool.
And then I'll also try to give you like some main notes to work on. That way you'll have some messages. It could take a little while for me to upload it because there's a lot of videos that I'm trying to get around to.
That's fine.
But I'll give you like some main notes of things to work on too. So I would say when you have more time like this, like you don't need to be here right now. You should go a little deeper with this ward. Try to put it like in that brush. Or if you ward it over here, you could put it in this brush instead. But
okay. Yeah, and usually too, when I get like Tiamat, I'll try to take their jungle camps. But it kind of depends on what jungler they have and stuff, and if I see him on the map.
Yeah. Yeah, Xin Zhao's got pretty good ganks early, although the Xin Zhao doesn't have flash, so that's something to note. Yeah, that was more of like a standard Tryndamere trade, I think, where you just auto and then E away. Another thing about like this ward is like, at the very least, instead of putting it here, you could put it a little further in the river. Like you would put it like over here, because then it just sees a little bit further. Like it's mainly when you have time like that. These wards are only like these brushes are like the lazy wards, you know. You can put a ward there if you don't have much time, but usually you'd rather put it a little further out in the river, or you could put it in the brush right here as well on either side.
Sometimes I like to put a pink ward right there because a lot of times I can 1v1 the mid laner, so I'll put it in that lazy ward area, but really hugging my side. So if they try to destroy it, you know, then I initiate on them. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think pink wards are really good in these brushes because they also yeah, and they also help your jungler too. Like if you have a pink ward here, then you know the enemy won't have this area warded, so that can help your jungler a lot.
Okay, so that's probably a good pink ward area at least, and just not for the other ones.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's not the worst to put him here. You just prefer to put him somewhere else. So okay, yeah, this gank will never work. It's good. It's good how you just E away. You don't want to take damage for no reason, just to, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what this guy's doing. He just kind of comes up and takes a bunch of CS, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't do that, but since he did do that, you might as well just try to shove it all the way in. And then you can be ready to help him too if he needs help. Like, one thing is to like try to keep an eye on your jungler in the early game because you want to be able to help him out. So at least right here, even though you're hanging out in lane, you can try to keep an eye on like the mini map and watch to see if Xin Zhao pops up. Let's just watch this with blue side vision. So, yeah. But yeah, I think being at full fury is good for your all-in potential, and you just always want to have an escape route ready in case you get ganked. So like at this point you have flash and you'll have your E and your Q. I mean, you have a good amount of stuff for safety, and you want to try to hug the side where you have vision. Just for general safety.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually try to do that, but I guess I forget sometimes.
Yeah, it's easy to forget. But now you're reaching the point where you're going to want to back soon, I think, because you're starting to get a good amount of gold accumulated. So usually the best times to back are after you get the wave shoved all the way in, or if there's a cannon minion on the way and it's going to like meet in the middle of the lane. And I'll explain a little bit more of what that means. Silas is usually pretty good at finishing off people when they're low, sort of like an assassin. But yeah, it's kind of awkward for you because you do want to get this wave shoved in, but yeah, just trying to sustain.
I mean, I was seeing that he's low on mana, so I was kind of thinking about going up there, but I don't really know if he has like low mana spells or not, what he can do with low mana. Some people are just useless with that much mana, and other people can like still do a full rotation.
Yeah, for Silas, I know his most important ability, usually his W costs a ton, and they max it first. Like right here, it costs 90. I think at max level, it costs like 110. And then, yeah, his other stuff have decently high mana costs, like 65 on his E and 50 on his Q. In general, though, like most mid laners, yeah, when they're at this much mana, they'll probably be able to get 1 or 2 spells off. Some of them can get all 3, but it's good that you're respecting that, though. Like, even though he is low mana, you want to...
if you could critique my trading stance throughout the video, that's one thing I try to do, but I don't know if I'm doing it very well.
Sure. That's a good idea.
Like, I've watched videos about it, but I feel like I don't always think about it in game.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to get too obsessed with, because like if you're focused on only harassing them, like every time they go for a minion, then you're gonna miss a lot of minions. So it's like a healthy balance of like, you want to get your last hits and you also want to try to hit them when they go for theirs. And that's mainly for other melee matchups, I think. Like when you're Tryndamere, you're not going to be able to do it as much to mage matchups. You know, people have range. But yeah, against Silas, I think you're actually doing a decent job of it this game. Let's see. Because like you're trying to get your last hits, and then this one's low. Like right there's a spot where one was low, and you kind of mess with them. It's interesting though, because I don't want you to focus too much on just like dealing damage to your enemy laner, like especially as Trynd. Like usually, you want to focus more on farm than on hitting the enemy. Like especially since you want to have a consistent game where you can get to that point where you're like able to side lane with Tiamat later on. Like you want to be consistent. You don't want to die in the early game. That's the main thing. So like trading stance is good to think about, but yeah. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'm usually pretty good about like not feeding or anything. Like I might get some deaths, but a lot of games I'm usually pretty low death count. I mean like relatively, because for a lot of my stuff, I care more about like objectives and than getting kills. And I don't know, maybe I should be a little bit more kill focused. Maybe that's something else that you could give an opinion on later, like more towards the mid game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think objectives in general are the better thing to focus on because they are going to be what will consistently win you the game. Like especially dragons, if you can get dragon soul and stuff like that. So this is like good how you backed off here for a little bit after you use your Q because you're out of fury, and then you want to try to wait around. Obviously, it's rough to tank that turret shot, but yeah. So then he goes in for a trade, and you try to back up a little bit, and now you like he's low mana, right? That's what you're thinking about here, and you're just hitting him a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And let me see if you use your.
I didn't have fury, but still.
Yeah, I think you should use your pot when you're this low. I think for now you kind of just you try to spam your Q whenever it comes up, which is fine.
I usually don't feel too threatened by a mage when they are low mana. Like usually, like being half health usually isn't that bad when they're low mana. I feel like, but maybe I'm wrong. If I'm not worried about a gank at least.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that.
Especially when I can Q, like I can just spam Q and it's free. And I have Doran shield too. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should have used my pot. I used it now, I guess.
Yeah. So one thing I'm thinking in general for Trynd is in the early game, you'll probably just want to let them push, or you'll want to just like go even on the wave. Because if you end up in this spot, like I notice you're trying to play safe a lot of the time, which is good, but you end up missing some CS for it. So it would be better if the wave was like over here or all the way back here. I mean, if it's close to your turret as well, then you can get a good all-in window. You know, like usually when you're Trynd and you get your all-in, it's when they're like all the way pushed up, and then you get the slow on them, and then you can kind of just run at them, get your lethal tempo, and spit on them, and all that sort of stuff. So I think the most consistent thing for you will be to not push the wave as much early on. Like once you get Tiamat, then you can shove it in really easily. But earlier on, I'd suggest just letting them push or trying to keep it even. Because you're not really going to be able to mess with them under tower either. And if you do something like this, now you don't have your E for a while, and you're open to a gank if you walk up for this CS,
Yeah, that's true. And Silas doesn't really seem to push very easily or very much.
Right, yeah, he doesn't push very well, early game especially. But yeah, right here you're not really getting yourself an advantage with the way the game has gone so far.
I agree.
And
do you think it was just wave management there?
I think that's a lot of it, yeah. And there are some more advanced things you could have tried to do where, like when the wave was pushing in, there's a spot here where you could let it push back to you and then you could go for a freeze later. But usually people will just auto push and they'll let you do that anyways. Also, there are a few times here where, like I mentioned earlier, you could kite more, like auto and move forward more, and then go for a little bigger of a trade. But I don't want to overload you with information,
No, it's fine. I'm probably gonna rewatch it anyways, so you can overload me.
Okay. So if we want to look more at the little details, like I can just try to point out little stuff. I mean, so besides the wave stuff, let me see. Something that would be good would be to get lethal tempo procced with just an auto, and then you walk away. And then once it's up, you could spin back in onto him and take a big trade.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
So like right here, your lethal tempo's up, but then you spin away.
Yeah, I don't really think about lethal tempo that often. Like I just kind of set it and forget it. I should probably be thinking about that kind of stuff more.
Yeah. So like right here, you don't even have to walk up this much. You can wait until this creep's about to die, and then he'll walk forward to hit it, and then you could auto him. And then you could go for a trade with your E. But like it's good that you want to try to be aggressive, but the best window to be aggressive is, like you said, like you already know what trading stance is. I mean, that's good. That's the best window to be aggressive. When they're about to go for last hit, then you can get your auto like right there. You're too scared, I think, because you're level 2, he's level 1.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And like that was good. You got a crit.
Yeah, when you get the crits, that's always a good trade.
Yeah, some nice big damage. Already talked about that ward. So here, actually, this is a spot where it's just going to come back to you if you don't touch it. And that's because this is an even minion wave. There's something called the even minion rule, where if a wave collides and it's even, so right here, this is a cannon wave, and it's, 3 melees, 3 casters, 1 cannon on both sides. So the even minion rule is when there's an even wave that hits like this, it'll push to the opposite side than where it is, like where it starts.
Okay.
So since it's over here, this wave is going to push to you. And the reason for that is because the waves on the map, once the next wave spawns, the red reinforcement wave will hit here first, and then the creeps will start hitting, and the blue wave will still be all the way back here. So pretty much the reinforcements will come in for the red wave, and they'll clear out the blue wave, and then it'll slow push to you. So that's some minion wave stuff you can find on like a lot of those minion wave videos that are out there.
Okay.
Even minion rule, all you really need to remember is when a wave is even and it's on one side of the lane, like right here it's on red side, then it's going to push to the opposite side.
Yeah.
So that's the overall gist of it.
Yeah, I got to think about that more often.
It's something that's good to be aware of, but I'd say usually it's not going to be super important for your wins right now.
Okay.
It'll be good to know, but usually people will just push anyways. Like if you wanna get a freeze, he'll probably just automatically push the wave. And the main places where you won't be able to go for freezes are when you have a big wave that's pushing into him. So like right here, he has a bigger wave, so this is gonna push to you. You can just chill, but yeah, you mentioned the set comes up. It's pretty weird how he does this. Maybe part of the reason why he does this is because he wants you to be available to help him with crab if he needs it.
Yeah, I do remember I asked him, I told him before the game, like, yo man, give me some ganks because I don't really know what Silas does. And but so maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe he was just trying to, be able to say he did it or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. And even if you're not entirely sure what champions do, your game plan will stay the same a lot of the time as Trynd, where you'll want that full fury and look for an all-in, or you'll just want to wait for a gank and use your slow to set it up. But yeah, this being in this spot, this is why you can't get a lead, because the wave is right here, and you can't get the CS and mess with him. Like for instance, if the wave is over here, then you can get the CS and you can look for a W on him to slow him and look for an all-in with your full fury, because you'll beat a lot of champions if you just have full fury and you get to wail on them,
Yeah, definitely.
Like most of the time, if you do end up in this situation, like let's say theoretically your wave's here and you have full fury, just try to go for the all-in. Especially with Ignite and Lethal Tempo, just go for it and see if it works out. It would be really good if you have an idea on where the enemy jungler is beforehand, but even if you don't, as long as you have flash, you should be good to go to try for an all-in a lot of the time. If you don't have flash, then it's better to play it safer and wait for your flash, but once you have it, that's kind of your permission to be more aggressive. Yeah, so this trade goes kind of even, and this is another weird spot where your wave is kind of just frozen for him, like incidentally, because you're just pushing it and he's doing what he's doing. I don't know if he's freezing this on purpose, but
he's kind of low mana. Maybe he's just trying to save his mana. But yeah, so sometimes it gets to this point, and then I try pushing it like into tower, but then it's kind of hard to do that, and and then that probably just helps him freeze it better. So I guess it can be kind of hard for me to know what to do sometimes.
Yeah, so now this is another spot where it's an even wave. So this will push towards you if you just let it push. So like in these sorts of situations as well, when I'm suggesting this, you can go for the very last hit on a minion, but don't auto it before then. So like,
Okay. Like
yeah,
that one.
yeah, if you had just waited, then this is going to push towards you. And it's not an exact science either. If the wave looks about the same, like you don't have to sit here and count, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if the wave looks pretty even, then it'll push towards you when it's in this general area on his side of the lane because of that even minion rule. Yeah, because now you can't really do very much. Because, like you said, you know, if you want to push this in, it's awkward because you're going to be at risk if you're walking up here and autoing these and like using E on them. You could try to shove it all the way in just with autos.
It's easier once I get Tiamat.
For sure, for sure. Alright, so now you're just autoing, you're pushing, which is fine. You want to push this out and get a reset.
Yeah. I
So-
think I'll maybe go back here. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, and this is an okay time to reset, especially since Silas is low on mana. But in general, whenever you get melee minions all the way under the turret like this, that means you're pretty safe to reset. You've already shoved the wave all the way.
Actually, I just hit 6. I might even try to all-in him here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could probably kill him. It's just it's a little risky because he still has flash. You don't know where the enemy jungler is, and he could also steal your ult. Which
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. I know he can steal ults, but like I don't really know like how it all works.
yeah. So initially he'll use R on you, and it will like it'll basically give him your exact ult, and he can use it whenever. And then he can't use your ult for a while after that. So once he's copied your ult, there'll be this cooldown on you.
Oh, okay. Because I saw that, but I didn't know if that meant he still had it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Once he does it too, you'll be able to see. So yeah, this is another.
It does happen here in a little bit. I don't know. We can pass forward to then. Because that's when like a fight happens in River over Rift Herald.
So yeah, it was okay for you to push this wave out as well because you still have like everything up for safety. If you're at risk of dying there, I'd say don't push that wave out. Just recall. But,
Okay.
yeah, you weren't really at risk. All right, so Tiamat, going back to lane, get most of these hopefully. And yeah, so if it was like this earlier in the game, you know, this is where you want it because like Silas is here and yeah, you can mow him down. Let's see what happens. You don't need to be that scared of Zinzao. You could still finish shoving this out. Even if he were to try to fight you, you've got full fury. You're level 7, he's level 5, and you could just sit there and tussle with him.
Yeah, I guess I just saw the Silas in the bush, so I figured, you know, if he's got the Zinzao knock-up, I don't know. But it's probably too scared.
Yeah, you're close to tower. You can try to stand your ground. So this is an awkward time to leave the lane because you have a big wave that's pushing in. You want to try to shove this before leaving.
Oh, okay.
Looks like you're not.
I'm debating about what to do here.
Yeah, were you thinking about doing drag or something?
I think I do drag, actually.
Okay. So yeah, usually you want to get your wave shoved in because that'll make sure you've got all your golden XP that you can get. Because your main objective as a mid or top laner, to be honest, is just to get as much golden XP as possible, and then get objectives when you can. So if you had pushed in the wave all the way, then you know you have a little bit more gold, a little bit more XP, and it sort of forces Silas to stay in lane if you shove the wave all the way in, because he doesn't want to miss out on his minions, his golden XP. But this looks like it'll work out, especially since your set had TP. Overall, I wouldn't say this is bad, but it could have been better.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And if Set wouldn't have come, I probably would have been a lot lower health, and then the Silas would have came in, I probably would have just eat over a wall.
Yeah, it would have taken a lot more time to do it as well. Yeah. So the wave ends up in a good spot for you because Silas he isn't really sure as well of what to do with the wave, so he left it in a spot where all these creeps are pushing towards you, so they already killed a bunch of Silas's creeps, so it's sort of like minions going into the tower, you know, like if nobody's around to collect minions going into tower, then they just go to waste. That's the exact same thing that happens with minion on minion combat. It just goes to waste if nobody's around to get it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he missed out on a bunch because he left. And now this is good. This is actually the perfect example of a good roam timing. So you mentioned roaming earlier. This is good. You get your wave shoved, and now you're going. You might not be able to get anything done over here because Mundo's already out. And okay, yeah, they're just a little too far. So at this point, you want to call it off and you want to start heading back mid. But okay, they chase on you. So now you should be trying to ping as well. It looks like Alawi does see. It does look like you pinged assistance at some point in here. And yeah, I mean, you're Trynd, you're doing your thing, auto-attacking. Once this guy ults, you should change your focus to the other guy. Because all those autos you just did on him didn't do any damage.
Yeah.
But I know Silas is weird, and now you're just getting used to playing against him, so I'm not going to follow you too much on that.
No, I mean, I think I knew that he had my ult. I was trying to, like, I guess I was trying to outlive it for a second, and then I realized it was futile, and then I left. Like, I think it was just kind of indecision.
Yeah,
I knew he could steal ult, so I was kind of thinking about it.
Yeah, and you should also W at some point in here as soon as possible, just to lower their attack speed. Because you don't even need to hit the slow on it. Your W will always give that cripple where it lowers their, attack damage, not speed. Lowers their attack damage by 35 for 4 seconds. Because you don't even end up using it here, I think.
No, I didn't. I used it in the beginning, but then it wore off, and then, yeah, I had it back up.
Yeah, so you just want to try to keep an eye on your cooldowns as much as possible during fights.
Hero is down.
Yeah, and now it's
And now it's up.
So
But yeah,
even if you're not like staring at your cooldowns, you can just sort of be like mashing them, and that way if they're up, you use it. You know, if you're just mashing W.
yeah. I guess I'm not used to mashing my Q. Like I don't mash them all because of my Q, and usually I need to kind of time my spin. So, but
Yeah.
I could probably be mashing my W more.
Yeah, mainly W, and hopefully, you know, as you keep working on things, you'll get a better idea of just being able to look down and see it's up and then using it right off cooldown. Or you can look at it. If it says 1 or 2 seconds left, you know, just start mashing your W, and that way you'll use it right when it comes up. All right. And I'm guessing you just do like the standard Trynd build. I'm not super familiar with his current builds.
I just follow fog stuff mostly.
Yeah, that's good.
Pretty much every Trynd player does the same stuff, but it's not much variance.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have ult there, so it's good to back up. And this is good. You're shoving the wave. He really wants to recall, so you shoving the wave in here puts a lot of pressure on him, because if he recalls, he won't be able to get this stuff.
I probably could have... Well, I don't know. I didn't have ult, so I didn't want to really fight this in.
Yeah, you don't have ult. It's okay not to mess with him. So now you have time to go and get like vision. You have a ward, so you could go... You could, like this already has this crab, but you could go ward here. You could also just like walk in here and place a ward here, or like in this brush. A ward in the enemy jungle is good to be able to see the Xin Zhao or if the Silas roams. So like when you have time like this, like this guy shows up, now you're thinking, okay, where can I go and get a ward? So, or can you roam? Right now you can't really roam top. Bot seems to be Mia. I guess they're kind of there. But the easiest thing to do is always to just go and get vision.
Okay, that's a good idea. That's good advice.
Mm-hmm. And then you come back to lane after getting vision and you shove this out. Yep, and even to practice kiting too, you can do it while you're attacking minions as well. You know, just like while you're farming, you can hit it, move around a little bit, hit it, move around a little bit, and still try to get the last hits. And that'll help you to get a lot more comfortable with kiting.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Usually when I get Tiamat, I'm just hard shoving because, I mean, Tiamat kind of does that anyways, and I usually just try to hard shove and roam or do something, or take their jungle camps if I see the jungler.
Yeah, and that's good. So right here, I think you could actually hold your ground and fight because you've got a wave, you've got Fury, you've got ult. You don't have Ignite or Flash, so your initial instinct I think is fine, but I'd say you want to try to push yourself a little more in situations like this. Like, this guy's already all the way over here, and even though you just use your W and your E will probably come back up soon. You just need like a... I mean, like, even if you just get one crit, then it'll be close to back up.
Yeah, exactly. Because Xin Zhao's another guy I don't see that often. I know he has like a knock up and a jet dash, and I'm not like super confident with my Xin. I feel like Xin Zhao's not very strong right now, which is probably why I don't see him. But I'm also not like super confident in like the matchup, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think
that was part of it.
Right, and I think something that'll build confidence is in situations like this.
Just go for it.
Right, you're gonna have that fight or flight instinct, and instead of flying away, just go for the fight and see how it works out. It won't always work, but a lot of the time it will, especially when you have full fury. That's like your number one requirement to fight as Trynd. I mean, ult really helps, everything else really helps, but as long as you've got full fury, you're ready to go. Because if you start wailing on this guy, and even while you're running away too, you could be hitting him. Because I think you could kill him.
Yeah, I might have been able to.
Yeah. And then you kill him, you still have ult to stall for time, you could run away, and it's really unlikely Sylas would end up killing you. Another reason why it's good to fight is because you have this wave. You've already killed their wave, and creeps damage, like, it adds up a lot. Like, I'm just looking at his health.
Yeah, it was Zen's health.
Yeah, you didn't even hit him, but he took like 120 damage from creeps there, and it would be even more if you like stand your ground and fight him, because he won't be able to kill the creeps. He'll just be fighting you.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
They'll keep hitting him, so that damage adds up. And in general, as Trynd, what I would suggest to you is, in these spots, don't try to kill your lane, like where you have Tiamat, and even though he's low, you could just shove this wave, like use your auto attacks, and then your Tiamat, walk up here, shove that out, and then E away and look for a roam. Or you can look to get vision or take an objective, because it's going to be really hard to kill people a lot of the time. And if you just shove your wave in and go for stuff, then they won't really be able to follow you without giving up their wave.
Okay.
So you eventually get it shoved in. You could have done it faster, but now you're here, you're ready to help. That's good. And yeah, you couldn't really get Zins there, so
I thought about it. I knew I could take Xin 1v1, but I got more nervous when both of them are around.
yeah. I mean, yeah, well, Sylas, he went Mia for a sec, and it looked like he could have... Okay, so now he's actually sitting here, so... I mean, you're low Fury, and he also has a Blast Gun here. It's really not worth your time to chase him at this point. So, it's good how you actually just come back mid. And then, yeah, you want to shove the wave, and you want to start getting ready for Dragon. You always want to be watching these timers, you know, pressing tab a bunch, looking up here, looking at drag. And drag is just a great objective to get. So you want to like ping that drag's coming up soon, make your team aware, and make sure you get a reset off before drag, because I mean, assuming you have a lot of gold, like right here it'd be good to get a reset off right after this wave, but you end up fighting him, and let's see what happens. Okay, that was close, but
yeah, I healed. I don't know if my heal didn't go through or if it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough, because he gets ignite off too, right? Yeah, he ignites you.
Or maybe the ignite was still going. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, and you can see right here as well. You'll be able to see this in game, but it has hijack here, which is Silas's thing. It says he's stolen your ultimate. And then for Silas, we should be able to see on him. It doesn't look like we get to see his cooldown, but I'm not sure if that's a weird thing for spectator, but
I did see that circle around me though. I just didn't know if that meant he still had my ultimate, or like even this tower dive, I felt like it was really risky just because I didn't know if he had my ultimate. I mean, it was risky anyways because I died, but
yeah, like you could just push the wave and go get ready for drag, or you could roam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even ult there, which is a little awkward. But yeah, your heal went off, it just wasn't quite enough. So yeah, mainly what I'm seeing is you're doing stuff that's like kind of wishy-washy, like you're kind of committing to something sometimes and then you're kind of backing off, but then you're also committing to things that are really volatile, like in these situations where you die, and that's the type of stuff you really want to avoid, the volatile stuff, because if you play low risk, then you should be able to carry a lot of games because you'll be able to get yourself in a spot where you've got a good amount of CS and you'll be able to side lane and people won't be able to match you, like they won't be able to 1v1 you. That's your main goal, is Trynd.
Yeah. Right.
So here, it looks like you're trying to walk in to find Zenzel to kill him or something.
I was thinking about taking some camps.
Okay, well that's good, but yeah, you want to do that after you push the wave as well, because that's part of how you build the lead after, like with taking camps, you want to take it in combination with your own waves.
Okay.
Because these waves are worth a lot. So like, yeah, you get wolves, but you could have gotten this wave and wolves if you had just done the wave before walking in here.
Yeah.
And then here you want to...
And then my set came in and even took it, and yeah, I kind of realized, I think too late, that was a bad move.
Yeah. It's good how you ignore the Silas here, like, and you're just going back to lane to get your farm. Like, that's good. In most situations, you should just prioritize your CS. Prioritize your lane, take care of that, and then look for other stuff to do.
Okay.
So that's good. It looks like you noticed that they were going to fight. It looks like, in general, you're actually being pretty aware of the map. It's always something that's good to work on, but it seems to me like you're doing a good job of watching out for fights to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if I should have roamed bot more. Our bot lane just got stomped. Like, both towers ended up going down pretty quickly.
Yeah, in a situation like this, you should just avoid going to help your bot lane, because...
They're probably not going to have damage to help.
Yeah, and on top of that, the enemy bot lane is going to be really strong. So you want to try to find opportunities against people who aren't that strong. Because that would be another situation where it's volatile. Like if you went bot here and you tried to save it, you know, you might get lucky and like get a kill on one of these guys. They might mess it up somehow, but you're probably going to die and you might not even kill one of them. You should only go to these lanes. Like if these guys were all 1 HP, then yeah, get the heck down here. You know, you want to look out for that. But if they're fed like this and your bot lane's getting crushed, then yeah, you want to stay far away. Stay far away from losing lanes.
Yeah, I didn't feel like roaming on the Mundo was... I've never really felt like I had an opportunity for that either.
Yeah, that would be tough to do as well. So, yeah, here's another spot where, you know, your wave, whenever you see your wave here, the other wave is always mirrored. So you know that wave is going to be right there. So you should just be ready to shove that wave out and then go look for this, because you're not going to be able to save this tower at this point anyways.
Yeah, it turned around.
Yeah, that's good. That's good how you turned around. If they kept pushing, then yeah, you want to start running down. Because they are really deep.
I think I just started going for their tower.
Yeah, so like here it would have been a good situation to go, just because they're so deep, and like they do end up getting really low. That guy dies, but you would probably be able to kill this guy. You'd probably be able to kill both of them.
I am coming now. I don't remember. I don't think I got a kill though. That Yorick just kept healing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is another spot where you want to try to kite more. Because to me it seems like you're just right clicking them and then you're not doing anything. Like, so it looks like you just right click and then you kind of sit there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just try to keep working on that. It's a tough skill. Because if you do kite this properly, you probably don't even need to flash here. You probably just kill them both.
All right. Yeah, I need to work on that.
Yeah. Another thing is you don't need to use your E here. You should just walk at them because you want to save your E to close the gap once they escape. Because right here you're already on top of them. Like they don't have anywhere to run.
That's
like,
true.
You could just let this Yorick sit here too. You could just start hitting Scion. And you could go for your W to slow. And then use your E when he gets far away like this. But instead you end up having to use Flash. And then you still don't get this guy, so... Yeah, just a good amount of things to optimize here. Even though your team's behind, like even though your bot lane is having a rough time, you know, if you polish this stuff up, you'll be able to carry these games like 80 times out of 100. You'll be able to carry this stuff. Let's see how much gold you have. It's always good to check, because yeah, right here I figured you would have a bunch since you just got that kill and you've been farming for a while. You pretty much don't ever want to be on the map with over 2,000 gold. You want to try to reset. So like here you could have reset like right after
The kill, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they're already on their way mid. Your bot lane's already going. Like right here, you could just reset. Because you got 2,100 gold, and that's gold that's like... That's
not being used.
Right. Potential power. You know, you could be super strong right now. Honestly, you're a lot stronger than Silas and Zin, if you recall, and then you could probably 1v1 anyone else. I mean, even Yorick, because Tryndamere is just a really good duelist.
Yeah. That's part of the reason why I like them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, definitely try to be conscious of your gold.
Yeah, I think I wasn't really too aware of the Ezreal and Misfortune, because I was kind of wondering what they were even doing in mid lane with me, but I probably should have just... Yeah, backed. You're right.
Yeah, and especially because Dragon's coming up too. You know, constantly check those timers. This is going to be a big thing for you for sure when I give you these main things to work on. Objective timers, like especially Dragon, and getting a reset off before them. Because here you're not going to be able to reset before Drag, I think. Yeah, it's already spawning.
I feel like with... Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like with Dragon, like, if my team's not there... I mean, I'm Tryndamere, I guess, but... I feel like they were already going for it here, because I was watching my map a little bit, and... I think I see them, and then I'm like, nah, if there's two of them, I'm not going to fight them.
Okay. Okay, let's look at this from the perspective of if you had recalled instead of going to this tower...
Yeah, then it would have been.
What do you go Infinity Edge first or
Essence Reaver?
Essence Reaver? Okay, so yeah, you would have Essence Reaver. I'm pretty sure. If you had recalled before taking this tower, and then you could walk over here, and if they are doing it, you could still just fight them, and you could kill one and then get out with your ult, or you could even like steal the drag or something.
Since I would have taken this faster if I had used the gold too.
Yeah, like this is risky because Zinzao could walk up. I mean, he doesn't, but if he had, you know, this is kind of a coin flip. Like if he does come over here to check it, then like he could just smite and you won't be able to out damage that. So he could have stolen it. I do like how you get like you're paying attention to the objectives though, at least, and yeah, taking red buff is good. You want to carry. And your Misfortune is not doing very well, so I like that you took the red buff. Here's another spot where you'd have a lot more damage if you had just recalled at some point in the past few minutes.
Yeah, I started my recall after red buff, and then people just started coming in, so...
Yeah, and that's good that you canceled it to fight this. One of the biggest things for sure in all these coaching sessions that I've been doing is recall timings. That's something that like pretty much everyone needs to work on, and if you look at like Fogged or like other challenger players, you'll see that they recall a lot just because they want to get as many little power spikes as they can throughout the game. And sure, you'll end up with some points where you're farming top and then you're clearing the jungle and then you have like 2k gold. You'll end up with big chunks of gold like that sometimes. And usually in those situations, you'll want to reset. So. Let's see. I want to get more into this mid-game stuff. So yeah, you're starting to split. And usually when you split, a good rule of thumb is that you want to try to stay even with your team on the map. So like if you're pushed up to like where you are right now, then you want them to be pushed up to here. Unless the whole enemy team is showing. Or like 4 people. Like if you know you can 1v1 whoever's here. So like right here, everyone's showing except for who's not here? York? No, York's here. Zinzao. Zinzao isn't here. And you know for sure you could 1v1 Zinzao. So you can push and go crazy. You don't really need to worry about this right now. You want to pay attention to it, just in case they get low and like you want to rotate, but now their whole team is here. So yeah, you're doing the right thing. Hard shove. Go get towers. And especially since they get low, if they try to come stop you, you can just kill them all. So hopefully you were paying attention to their like stuff that was going on. And you don't even need to E those waves a lot of the time. I guess it's fine too. Just do whatever Fog does, I guess. Yeah, right here you could start autoing him even sooner. Once he goes in. You do want to make sure you're out of tower range, but... Yeah, I mean... Yeah, it's okay. And then... You want to keep the pressure on, and since this is the only guy trying to stop you, you want to try to set up to kill him. And if he does take your ult, then you just want to burn that and then get away. Yeah, he took it. Okay, he didn't use it though. That's another way to know if he has your ult, if you see that he has that symbol of your face next to him, next to his bar up there. Because he takes it right here. And now you see there's the little Tryndamere face. Did you see? Are you muted or something? I don't know if I can hear you anymore. I think I just heard something. Hopefully you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. But did you see how the little Tryndamere thing popped up when he...
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think I'll be a lot more comfortable fighting another Silas.
Good, good. Yeah. So this is good. You can keep pushing here too. Because I guess you use your ult. Oh, okay. So then
yeah, I used my ult, and then I did see that there had some missing, so I didn't really want to fight that Yorick with this low health and no ult.
Yeah, since you use your ult. Good. This is a good call. Although, when he walks up here, if you see him with that HP, you should just kill him.
That's probably true.
Yeah. So like, yeah, let's say we didn't realize how low he was. You know, you're recalling, and just make sure you stay aware while you're recalling. You know, don't have the shop open. I mean, you can, but just like be aware. And then if you see this guy, you know, there's enough time here to cancel your recall. Especially you have Ignite, you would just, yeah, you would destroy him.
Yeah, looking back, that was yeah, looking back.
Mm-hmm.
But there was Scion too, so I don't know if I would have got both of them.
I think you would have.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty fast too.
Yeah, you're level 14. That's a really big thing I'm looking at here. Always be aware of your levels, like especially as Tryndamere, if you're farming jungle in your lanes, like if you like had maximized your farm this game, you would probably be level 16 right now. Just from taking all the mid waves and as many jungle camps as possible. Like if you had played totally efficiently, someone like Fog would be level 16 right now. And I know you're not going to play exactly like him, but it's just like
yeah, no, it's good to know how much I'm missing.
Yeah, at this point you should try to get set to leave. I don't know if you're trying to tell him or...
I did write that. And then he didn't leave, so I think I left. Because I was like, well, we both don't need to be here. Or maybe I just kind of, I don't know what I did. Farm jungle and maybe we took tower together. But yeah, I was telling him to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you want to be aware of this fight, and you also want to be aware that dragon's spawning soon. But yeah, you could have been up here hitting the tower. And then I would still rotate to drag here just because you're so strong. But I also think just pushing is fine. When in doubt, just push. You know, like if you're not sure if you should go to help the objective, just push the lane. And just go all the way. Yeah. So that works out okay. And now you definitely want to go get drag. Especially because like multiple people show up here.
Yeah, I think at this point I thought they were doing drag and I didn't think I could get there in time. Although maybe I could have, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably won't make it now. But if, you know, if you were like over here and you were looking, then I think you could have seen that they weren't doing it yet and just walked straight over. But it's okay. So now you want to go push bot because Baron is the main objective. Okay, well they got Baron. So that kind of sucks. But it can be risky to go push bot, especially without TP. You just want to be aware of like whether or not you should go rotate to your team. Like if the enemy team is like for sure doing Baron and you'll have time to get there and you can clean up, then you probably want to rotate. So a lot of the time when it's Baron and you're bot lane, you'll just want to start rotating. I know I just said that when in doubt, push the lane. But Baron is kind of like a big game-ending objective, so you want to be there if your team needs you there.
Okay.
So that's sort of like the exception. Like, especially since you don't have TP. I'm assuming you just take Ignite every game?
Sometimes I take Ghost. Ghost scales better. I've been trying to go back and forth between them because sometimes I don't do as well in the early game, and then I kind of feel like I should have had Ignite, and other times Ghost is better late game if they don't have any healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Ghost is really good. Yeah, it works.
I kind of go back and forth. I don't really have a rhyme or reason right now, though.
Okay. In melee matchups, maybe you just take Ignite, like melee matchups like this, because you have a high chance to kill him. And then in every other matchup, you could take Ghost. I think that'd be viable strat. Yeah, now it's really hard to defend against the Baron.
Like, I think, yeah, they just end it right here.
Yeah, so this is where it gets tough, and this is why you don't want to end up giving the Baron his Trynd, because you can't go split, because all these empowered minions are just going to do work on your towers and the enemy team, and yeah, it's a nightmare. So let's look one more time at what led up to this Baron. It's kind of like the Yorick just like goes over there with his ult and cheeses it. So like later in the game, you want to try to get vision at some point. Let's see how many wards. Yeah, especially when you have 2 wards, you could walk over, just drop one right before you recall.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, just in case. And then, like, they'll probably be on it really soon. And you could at least run straight over. Let's see when they get on it. Because if you run straight here instead of drag, like if we see them on it, then you'd be able to like at least mess with them. You'd probably be able to kill both of them. Because you're level 15 and you have your Infinity Edge power spike. And even then, like even if you don't kill both, your team would probably show up too. So the main things are definitely going to be in the early game. You don't want to just autopilot push. Yeah, I'm going to make like a little note too. Or I'll just start typing it in our chat. So early game, don't auto push. Usually try to keep the wave even, or let them push to you. You can set up a gank. Like in the early game, if you do set up a gank like that and you do get your slow on them, Trynd's gank setup isn't that bad. I mean, the slow, and then he does a lot of damage, and especially if you have Ignite or Ghost, you know, to run him down, you can get some really good stuff going on early game in lane.
Yeah.
Okay, and try not to place the lazy ward. If you have time, place it in the
Are there raptors or something?
Yeah, in the enemy jungle, assuming it's safe. Like if the enemy laners are rotating, be aware. Like, you don't want to die for a ward. You don't want to die for a ward. So like, yeah, usually you want to place it further in river, just past the lazy ward area, or in that brush, like in river, you know, like in the middle of river, like we talked about. Let's see. Those are kind of the main early game things. And work on, okay, this is a really big thing. Really important. Work on kiting.
Yeah, okay.
Move in between every auto. Like if you're chasing someone, move with them, like move forward with them. And if you're running away, then of course you want to try to kite and move away. Yeah. Make sure to use W off cooldown when fighting. Just look at this again. I mean, there are those little trading things here and there, but mainly you can't trade that much because the wave was in such an awkward spot this whole game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like, even though he is a melee matchup.
I mean, even against ranged matchups, Trynd can do, I mean, maybe not at high or low as much, but Trynd can do some pretty good. It's usually just an all-in, but if it's near my tower and, you know, I spin on and get the slow onto an immobile mage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually you can still, there's definitely still kill pressure if I got full fury and stuff.
Oh yeah, and that's a lot of the reason why I'm suggesting you want to try to get it over here, because especially in ranged matchups, I'd say, you know, ranged champions tend to be squishier.
Yeah.
And
what do you think the Syndra matchup is like?
Well, like in high elo, I think it's bad for Tryndamere, but like in lower elo, a lot of the time, I think Syndras won't understand how to position as well and how to use their abilities as well. So as Trynd, I think you could win that matchup a lot of the time.
Because I feel like if I can bait out the stun and the flash, you know,
yeah,
probably have a good just ult when she ults. But yeah, maybe at higher elo, the positioning makes a big difference.
Yeah, and also I'd say when you do go for those all-ins, try to look for W first usually. That way you know you get the slow, and then you're pretty safe to E in. Something to be mindful of. Another big thing is just objectives. I'll put recall timings. Try to recall once wave is shoved, or if it's a cannon wave, or if you have a lot of gold. Those are the main times to recall, especially if you have a lot of gold. Be ready for objectives. Check timers. So you want to press tab a lot and then ping the timers. Like, you can even like spam ping them. Check timers, ping timers. Try to get team ready. They won't always listen, but at least you can make sure you're ready. At least.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, like, to get to Diamond, how many games do you think you had to play?
It's a good question. Total ranked games, I'd probably played like 300 or 400. And I have like previous experience in competitive games, and I think that helped.
Oh, okay. Like StarCraft or something like that?
Well, I mean, just like I played I played a few like RTS games. I didn't play StarCraft, but I played
I feel like RTS games have a pretty good like skill carryover.
right. Yeah, I think they do. I'm curious why you're asking. Like, I don't think it's good usually to compare because some people they'll play 1,000 games and they'll still be bronze, and then something will click and then they'll get to diamond in a month. And other people they'll play and they'll get to diamond and then they'll end up like falling to silver or like bronze, just for different reasons. Like sometimes people lose their mentality. Sometimes people like end up focusing on things that don't matter that much. I think the important thing is to just try to improve every game, and you can get to like any elo, as long as you're improving and you have goals.
I think the reason I was asking is it kind of just takes the pressure off, I feel, for me, because I can't play that many games. I mean, like if I play like 2 in a day, I feel pretty good about it. And so like it kind of takes a lot of pressure off, just being like, you know what, even if I'm playing 2 a day and having a pretty good win rate, I'm probably still not going to get that high just by game count. Because it would take a lot for me to play like 300 games, you know?
Yeah, it does. It does take a lot of games, a big sample size, to get to the elo that like you belong in, pretty much. So, but along with that, if you try to improve every game, then you'll naturally climb, and it'll be like a good experience, and you'll have fun. And I think 2 games a day is a great number, by the way, because
Okay.
it's a healthy number. Like you probably aren't gonna be playing when you're tilted. And that sort of stuff.
I try to like eat and everything before.
Yeah.
Does make a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. It really does. And I mean, just being less invested in your games too. If someone plays like 2,000 games in a season, like their games matter less to them than someone who plays like 100 games in a season, because there's just way more games. So, each individual game feels less meaningful, which over the long run is a bad thing. For improvement, it's a bad thing to be like, oh well, I'll just play another game, like, oh, we lost this one, I'm just gonna spam FF and like run it down or something. Like a lot of people get negative attitudes because of that kind of stuff.
Oh, those are the worst.
Yeah, but as long as
I could just play with people that had good attitudes, like even if they were Iron 4, like.
Yeah, me too. I mean, skill plays into it somewhat. Like, so for the most part, yeah, I wish I would just play with people who are less good, who had better attitudes. But yeah, this is just the world we live in, So
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain limit to it. Like, I don't want people who are, really, really bad. Like, what does this do? But
yeah,
I'd rather have people who are worse with just better attitude.
Yeah. Okay, so I think went a little over time, but I want to get some of this other